Well, hello everyone. Wonderful to welcome you to another edition of Icon Elevate. And today we have a very, very special guest. In fact, the first external guest ever for Icon Elevate. It is my great pleasure to welcome Mr Li Cunxin, the Artistic Director of the Queensland Ballet, and a man who really needs no introduction. Lee, great to see you. Welcome.
Love to see you, Mark.
And thank you so much for joining us here in person. This is the first time we've been back to the normal Icon Elevate since early in the year, which we faced a global pandemic, which we're going to talk a lot about. But thank you for taking the time of joining us.
Lovely to be here.
Wonderful to have you here with us. And Lee, I've got some questions for you that I'm going to ask. And I think that clearly you have this incredible story, and you've been lucky enough in the past to interact with a lot of the Icon team, and I think you know that there's a great interest in your story. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to ask you a bit about your life.
Sure.
Great. Now, Lee, you've been the Artistic Director of the Queensland Ballet since 2012. Our relationship, our partnership started not too long after that in terms of the long term. I think 2015, Icon became a partner with the Queensland Ballet. We've grown significantly over that time. You've grown significantly over that time, and we've watched Queensland Ballet really blossom under your leadership. Some of the highlights of being the artistic director thus far, what have been the things that have made you incredibly proud? And I know there's lots of them.
Mark, first of all, I just have to say the partnership with Icon is a special one for us. We love engaging with your team, with your, doctors, with your, inspirational people in your organization. Secondly, I think partnerships like ours really come to become 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or 5, not 2. So I think the right partnership that when that happens, it just makes huge difference. And for Queensland Ballet, I have to say we are just so pleased with our partnership. Now, the highlights, some of the highlights of my directorship at the Queensland Ballet, I have to say, I think for us, it is really about the phenomenal growth the company have experienced from virtually a very small provincial company, even though with a proud history, but now it's become a global stature business. It is highly respected around the world in dance. And just give you an idea that we were at the very bottom of all the major performing art companies in self-generated income category when I first came. Now we're one of the top 5 in the nation. Wow. So partnerships such as Icon have helped us along that journey. And now dancers around the world wants to come to join our company. Yeah. Some of the best companies, we're talking about the Bolshoi, we're talking about the Royal Ballet, we're talking about the Paris Opera Ballet, those stature companies and the dancers wants to come. So, and plus what I'm so proud is we are training world-class dancers ourselves through our new academy at Calvin Grove State College. Yeah. So we have just built an $18 million brand new facility, which is world-class. Yeah. And I feel that this kind of legacy will continue to really producing future generations of stars. In return, they will make the difference for our society.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so clearly your passion and commitment to watching others succeed. And I think that's something we're really passionate about at Icon as well. So it's your life thus far. Everyone at Icon is familiar. You obviously wrote an incredible book, Mao's Last Dancer, made into a Hollywood blockbuster. I'm surprised they didn't get you to play yourself. Was that ever discussed?
They did encourage me, but I was too old. I would have killed myself. Even then, I will not be able to reach the standard I used to reach.
Yeah, wow. So an amazing book, an amazing movie, and so many of our people have commented on it and are so proud of the relationship with you and the Queensland Ballet. Now, growing up in Qingdao in 1961, now we obviously have a link to Qingdao because one of our icon cancer centres is going there, and I was fortunate to visit Qingdao with you.
That's right.
On the Queensland Ballet tour of China. Can you tell the team a bit about growing up in 1961 in Qingdao? The events that I guess set you on that course for life. You're 11 years old when you became, I guess the dance academy came and sought you out for your talent. Could you tell the Icon team a bit about that and those experiences?
Sure. I was really growing up in such a poverty-stricken situation. Between 1958 to 1961, there were tens of millions of people died of starvation in China. So I was starved constantly throughout my childhood. Even certain tree barks were eaten by desperate peasants. So I was, a peasant child. Yeah, it was really tough. No running water. We have to carry buckets of water miles, travel back and forth, and virtually, no heating. The winter times, the weather could be about 30 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
So the ground's frozen, snow would pile up meter high. So during these kind of circumstances, we were struggling desperately for food on a daily basis. And then suddenly one day, 4 people from the Beijing Dance Academy, which Madame Mao was heading, she loved ballet.
Yes.
And then, so we walk into our classroom, looking for talents to study ballet. We were wearing these thick quilted cotton pants our mothers have sewn for us. We looked like these round snowballs. And over 40 of us. 40. And it was freezing. There's no heating inside in the middle of the winter time. And then they asked to stand up to sing "We Love You, Chairman Mao" songs that was supposed to keep us warm. And as we were singing, these 4 people looking everybody in their faces and trying to get some vague idea of our body shape. And they selected 2 people. First, a girl, and just at the beginning, just the one. And just about to walk out, my teacher stopped. The last man from Beijing says, "What about that one?" And the second one was me.
Wow.
So that man looking back says, "Okay, he can come too." So then we went through this amazing audition process. They torn a lot of hamstrings, broken a lot of backs. They test every part of your body to see the flexibility, the proportions of your body. And then suddenly, out of millions of kids that year, I was one of the lucky 44 being chosen to go to Beijing to study ballet. So I left Qingdao and knew not a single soul, went on the train for 24 hours, went to Beijing to study ballet for 7 years.
And you were 11 years old?
11.
The Beijing Dance Academy sounds like it was a very strict environment, really disciplined because they were trying to create great dancers. How did you adapt to that life after, I guess, being from the village, living with your family in Qingdao? I imagine it was pretty tough.
What was tough was I knew nothing about ballet, and I hated it with passion.
So you were a natural?
They thought I was natural. I thought I was hopeless. I thought I was absolutely hopeless. Yeah. I was actually the laughing stock for the first 2 years.
Wow.
Even though physically I had some natural ability, otherwise they wouldn't have chosen me over millions of kids. Yeah. But I was lazy. I was unmotivated. I hated ballet. And so therefore I didn't work hard. And I was absolutely terrible. And then just on the verge of being fired, one ballet teacher saw some potential in me and really encouraged me, really nurtured me, and took me under his wing. And eventually I fell in love with ballet.
Wow.
And that was the turning point. From a laughing stock at the academy, eventually by the end of the 7th year, Look, I worked hard and I became the top dancer China probably ever produced.
Wow.
I would strap heavy sandbags on both my ankles, hop one leg up and down
Wow.
on 4 level stairs, whether it's 4:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night when others still deep asleep.
So where did that burning ambition come from, I guess, to ultimately be the best? Suddenly a switch went off that I want to be really good at this, because clearly you worked incredibly hard over those 7 years to become a world-class dancer. You know, you've gone from not knowing anything about ballet to 7 years later being the best dancer that China has ever produced. How does that happen?
Yeah, Mark, it's a combination of things, I have to say. As a peasant boy, as a peasant son, I was proud. My parents were proud people. They were poor but proud. And so when there was a chance I could lose that pride for my family, being sent back home, that did something to me. And the second thing was I luckily discovered passion for ballet.
Yeah.
And that passion had driven me to want to become the best, as you said. So hard work never really fazed me. It was to find a purpose, find something I love to do in my life. That was the turning point. Yeah. And then after that, I was well on my way. And then the pursuit of excellence, just want to be the best, not just mediocrity.
Yeah.
That's what really pushed me.
Wow.
And the work ethic from a child, I knew I had to work hard to even getting enough food, work hard to survive. So that was okay. But it was that extra. Wow. That's the extra something, that meaning, that purpose, that passion. Yeah. That's what drove me.
No, unbelievable story. Now, Lee, in 1979, you then had the opportunity to travel to join the Houston Ballet. That must have been, that was the first time leaving China. Was that the first time you'd left China?
That's right.
So you went to the USA in 1979. Must have been a different world.
It was like as though you were going out to the moon. Really? You know, it's totally foreign.
Wow.
Because for all the 18 years of my life, I was brainwashed, you know, by mass political propaganda. You know, we were taught to hate the West.
Yeah.
And we call you the big-nosed people. And everybody looked the same to us. And you thought the Asians looked the same. We thought the Westerners looked the same.
Yeah.
And so when I went over there, I was absolutely stunned.
Wow.
The picture in my mind where the political brainwash was didn't fit in. And I went to Houston, Texas at the time. It was booming with oil prices, and there were some very wealthy people who were supporters of the Houston Ballet at the time, and then met George and Barbara Bush. Wow. On that trip. They took me under their wings because they were very fond of China. He was the first official being sent to China, and President Nixon. Yeah. So all that made incredible experience for me. But what surprised me the most was the freedom people enjoyed to pursue their dreams. And that's what the West had to offer us, and which was something was very foreign to me. And so, you know, experiencing music like Gershwin music or Tchaikovsky, or even simple things like that, it was never exposed. We were never exposed. It was always revolutionary music.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
Now, your life changed dramatically once you were in the USA, and anyone who's read your book and seen the movie understands that. That must have been a pivotal time in your life because you made the decision, I guess, to stay in the USA when your family was still in China and all those sort of things. How long did you go without seeing your family at that time?
It was nearly 8 years, after I stayed in America. And it was tough. It was the darkest moment in my life. And it was character building. That's the best way I can put it. I thought I would never see them again. And they thought they had forever lost their 6th son. I was the 6th of 7 boys in the family. For me, the person I thought I was in love with, and I married her. That's the reason I stayed there. The marriage really broke up, and born in China, brought up in the Chinese culture, you marry the person for life.
Yes.
And yet, my marriage didn't work, and I blame myself for it. It wasn't for my wife, and so I did the most tremendous soul searching. Not only I nearly lost my life by staying in America, I lost the person I loved, and then I was cut off from my beloved family back in China. So suddenly the whole world collapsed on me.
Yeah, wow.
And as a young man, as a young boy, I had to virtually find whatever the strength, the character inside me to just be able to wake up in the morning to go to work.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I thought I've lost everything. The world was full of color when I arrived in America. Suddenly become black and white,
Wow.
colorless. But ballet saved me. Going to work, give me moments of respite.
Yeah.
And allowed me to immerse myself in the art form, in music, in choreography. And when I danced in front of cheering audiences, feeling what I've done, what I have performed, made a difference in people's lives, that had carried me forward.
Yeah.
Helped me to get out of my really depressive state.
The dark place.
Yeah.
Now, Lee, you've got a wonderful family in China, who I've had the great fortune of meeting when we joined you on the tour of the Queensland Ballet in China. What did it mean to you to take the Queensland Ballet to China? Because I was lucky to have a front row seat. That must have been an incredibly proud moment in your life.
It was. It was the most special, most proud moment of my life and career, actually. Even though I've danced back in China, eventually I was allowed to go back to China to dance with the Houston Ballet in 1995. That was special. The Chinese Central Television live broadcast that performance in Beijing, the very theater I danced my first professional ballet before I left for the West. And then years later, I went back to China as the prodigal son returning.
Yes.
And the Central Television broadcast that across China to about apparently they said 500 million people.
Wow.
On live television. But taking my own company, Queensland Ballet, back to China, and in partnership with ICON, with your support, and it was truly amazing moment.
It was.
And I felt, I was probably more proud taking dancers there to perform than I was performing on my own, because I was petrified. I was so nervous when I was dancing myself. But when I was seeing our dancers performing, I was just totally in ninth heaven.
Yeah, and it was so wonderful to see the pride of your family. And we had that celebratory party at your brother's place,
right.
which I'm still recovering from, by the way. It was an interesting time. That was wonderful. Now, Lee, at ICON, we like to talk a lot about, career pivots and milestones, and people knowing that where they start in a certain career is not necessarily where they end, and there'll be changes along the way. You've had a few career changes. So you world-class ballet dancer, stockbroker, author, movie producer, all the way through now to back to being the artistic director. How did you transition from, ballet to being, you had a successful stockbroking career. What was that transition like?
Mark, as you know, with anything successful, particularly the unusual kind of success, was never easy.
No.
It's full of heartaches, full of trial and errors, full of shattered dreams sometimes, and sometimes you just constantly question yourself, have I made the right decision? But I think every time when I embark on something new, I relied on that incredible self-belief and determination and resilience. Those are the ingredients I think you have to have to be successful in anything, particularly when you pivot, when you go in an area you're not familiar with, you take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And that self-belief and that determination when things does not go your way, when you encounter challenges and difficulties, others have given up, chucking the towels, you're the last few men standing. Those kind of moments is really testing. It really, you are that much closer to the success in these kind of dark moments.
Yeah.
And every time when I pivot in my career, I was in that lonely place, in that dark, scary place. And you're scared by your own shadows because those negativities come to you. Yeah. Not only your own, the environment surrounding you. But that's when you have to have that incredible self-belief. Yeah. And you have to believe that you have to revisit your vision, why you start that journey to start with. Often people lose the sight, lose the purpose along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now at Icon, we talk a lot about heroes and people that have inspired our team members along the way, and people that you've looked up to. Heroes in your life, Lee, people that you've looked to, growing up or when you became a successful dancer, or even now in your life now, people who've inspired you, and people who I guess you've looked at them and that has driven you to strive for more success. Is there anyone like that in your life?
I'll say two people. On a personal level, my mother.
Yeah, wow.
She was an amazing woman. She had 7 boys.
Wow, that would have been hard work.
Yeah, incredibly hard work with no food. She sewed, made every piece of clothes, cooked every single meal, no money to ever go out. And it just for her, it's about survival. Make sure all her children have survived. The strength in her is phenomenal. Yeah. And she never read, never could read, never went to school, never learned, she was never educated. But her positivity in life, and she always had a vision that if she can sustain our lives, there's hope. And hope for a better life. And, that kind of positivity had really become, my
That's part
strength.
of you. And it's very clear that's part of you.
Those and the sacred values, the principles in life, which are pride and dignity that they always talk about. When you live a life, doesn't matter how difficult it is, never lose your pride and dignity. Yeah. And those values she and my father had instilled in all of us is still affecting me today. Really strong. In the decision making in moments. And really professionally, people like Nelson Mandela were always looking up to somebody like that for inspiration. Yeah,
wow. I think everyone at Icon will identify with the fact that you talked about your mum, because we, particularly during this global pandemic, the importance of family and spending time. Now you've been stuck at home like me, and families together, and it's times like these that you recognise the importance and value of family. So I think everyone's going to be quite pleased that you nominated your mum, and I would have done the same. So, Lee, I've got one more question for you. COVID-19 has devastated the arts industry, and you've been watching that firsthand. What do you see the future for performing arts in Australia, like Queensland Ballet? How do we respond from the devastation of not being able to do live performances and all those sorts of things? And I know Queensland Ballet has been incredibly inventive and innovative in trying to meet that challenge. How do you see the future?
I'm optimistic, Mark. No doubt it's tough. I think we all recognise this time is the most unprecedented. I don't think anybody had expected we would ever end up where we are today. And I suspect, it's about fighting for survival for
Yeah.
most companies. And we don't know what shape and form we will be allowed to come back to the theater with next year, even, not let alone this year.
Yeah.
But even next year, we're being advised by governments that we have to scale back our ambitions, our plans. So the challenge is absolutely phenomenal. But I truly believe tough times like this is also times of opportunities, present opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think how you cope with it, what kind of positivity you have to confront the challenges head on, not turning yourself away because the problem is not going to go away. So you got to be proactive. You got to look things outside of the box,
Yeah.
and see the challenges as opportunities in disguise. So I think when you emerge to the other end of it, the people are best prepared for that moment are going to seize the opportunities, seize the moment,
Yeah.
and not miss a single step. That's what I want to position Queensland Ballet to be. I'm really excited, even though I know there's some hard times to come, whether it's the next 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, I don't know. But I want to be Queensland Ballet to be not only a survivor, but a company well prepared to be so fit
Yeah.
to capitalize on the opportunities that post COVID-19.
Great answer, Lee, and I absolutely agree with you. I want the same for Icon. We're going to come out of this stronger than ever before.
Well, let's partner together.
Yeah.
And,
Great.
and
We will. So, Lee, thank you so much for joining us for this very special edition of Icon Elevate. I want to thank you for your friendship with Icon. We're very proud of our partnership with you, and it's amazing that we're able to share your story with everyone across Icon. From my own perspective, thank you for being my friend, and I can't wait to continue to work together with you as we come out of this challenge and we make sure that Queensland Ballet and Icon are stronger than ever. So thank you.
Well, same here, personally and professionally. We really enjoy, really value our friendship, relationship, and I hope we will continue to work together into the future.
Good. Thank you, Lee.